just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. Just when you thought the incompetence was at an all-time high, and there was absolutely no way the incompetence could get any higher. The situation for deacons at Woke United Methodist, it goes from bad to worse. Now, of course, that is not how it's being portrayed by the mainstream media. For the past couple of hours, the celebration, it has been extravagant throughout the woke media. Celebrate the butt bongo! My inside sources are telling me that doctors at Woke Memorial Hospital in D.C., they are preparing for an onslaught of patients tomorrow. There is a shortage of Preparation H in Washington, D.C. right now, and there's just not enough supply to cure the thousands of potential bongo hangovers that they're expecting tomorrow morning. Now, for those that don't know, our fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, he has decided to drop out of the presidential race. Translation, he quit. When the going gets tough, John Biden gets the hell out of here. Now, they are framing this decision as if John Biden actually had a choice. I mean, technically, it was his decision, but when you have most of your leadership, along with the mainstream media and millions of parishioners at Woke United Methodist begging you to step aside, makes the decision a hell of a lot easier. When you know you're not wanted, the decision to leave, it's easy. Now, the media, they are portraying this as a good thing, as predicted right here on the channel. I told you guys they were waiting to announce this decision on Sunday in a desperate attempt to reinvigorate their woke base. They are sending a message that Democrats now have a chance to beat Donald Trump. Orange man bad! But do they really? Do they really have a chance to beat the Trumper? When you consider the fact that your only option is likely going to be Cam Harris, it's not going to be very long before the feelings of misery and outright bitterness return. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Headline at the New York Times: What John Biden just did is utterly extraordinary. Extraordinary? John Biden? Extraordinary? 50 years in politics, I can't think of a single thing that John Biden has accomplished that I would describe as extraordinary. If anything, his political career has been ordinary. John Biden is your typical politician, says a lot, doesn't do a damn thing. Now, of course, in the case of John Biden, he says a lot and no one understands what the hell he's talking about. But there is nothing extraordinary about John Biden quitting the race. First of all, putting politics to the side for just a second, there is no shame in Johnny B. Biden stepping aside. I mean, the guy was born the same year as Methuselah. When Moses wrote down the 10 Commandments, John Biden, he handed Moses the scroll. Since 2020, the cognitive decline of Johnny B. Biden, it has been noticeable to those of us who were unwilling to lie to you about it. So there's no shame in Johnny B. stepping aside, but let's just be real here. This is not some act of nobility. This is not an act of selflessness. John Biden is not putting the needs of his country over his own self-interest. If that was the case, he wouldn't have run for president 4 years ago. The only reason, and I mean the only reason, that John Biden is stepping aside is because he was essentially forced out. And the only reason he was forced out is because he's getting his ass kicked in the polls by the Trumper. I guarantee you, if John Biden was winning or if he was even remotely close in the polls, deacons at Woke United Methodist, they would not have made this decision. This was an act of desperation. This is their last desperate attempt to win the election. The problem for the deacons? I don't think it's going to work. Because more than likely, their only option is going to be Cam Harris. John Biden's bad. John Biden is the king of incompetence, but here's the thing with Johnny B. Biden, at least you have an excuse. When Johnny B. discovers a unique way to fall up the stairs, you can blame his rapidly advancing age. When he speaks in his native Bidenese, when he pronounces the tee, you can blame his cognitive decline. When Johnny B humiliates himself and his country by showing up to a presidential debate thinking it's a costume party dressed as a zombie, you can blame his confusion on his age. For 3.5 years, the woke media has made excuses for the incompetence of John Biden. I have never seen as much polish put on a turd to cover up the obvious than the polish the mainstream media has applied to John Biden. 3.5 years of nothing but excuses. But let me ask you something. What is the excuse going to be for Cam Harris? What excuses will the mainstream media make when Cam Harris inevitably embarrasses herself? Because it's coming. It is coming. If Cam Harris ends up being the nominee, it's coming. Deacons at Woke United Methodist, they will pretend to support her, but I think they have serious doubts about the competence of Cam Harris. Earlier this afternoon, John Biden, he released a letter which was probably written by someone else announcing his quitter status. As expected, the letter was full of platitudes and lies. My fellow Canadians, Americans, damn it! We had the strongest economy in the world! While that might technically be true, it doesn't mean our economy is doing well. Go to the grocery store and tell me our economy is healthy. A bag of charcoal, it costs as much as a fifth of whiskey. You know what I find strange about the inflation in the last 3 or so years? Prices for commodities, groceries, gas, shit like that, those prices have increased exponentially over the last 3 years. Now, as you guys know, I made the decision to quit drinking a couple of months ago, but when I was still drinking, the price of my liquor, it never changed. Prices for necessities, they are damn near unaffordable for some people. But the price of liquor, at least this was the case with Jim Beam, the price of Jim Beam barely moved. I wonder why. Anyway, John Biden published a letter this afternoon announcing his resignation. It was about a page or so long, but there was something strangely missing from the letter. As he announced his resignation, John Biden, he failed to endorse Cam Harris. Well, that's a bit strange. Well, KC, that's simply not true. He endorsed Cam Harris after the letter was released. Yeah, he endorsed Cam after it was pointed out that he had forgotten, but maybe there's a logical explanation for this. It is entirely possible that John Biden just forgot. Wasn't that long ago John Biden forgot that he was sitting on stage and thought that he was sitting on the Morning John. Poor pretend Dr. Jill, she noticed the rancid smell and had to rush Johnny B off stage to change his Depends. So it is entirely possible that Johnny B Biden just forgot to endorse Cam, but I ain't buying it, because I'm not buying the fact that John Biden actually wrote his resignation letter. I think the exclusion of Cam Harris was intentional. I think leaders of the Democratic Party know they don't stand a chance with cackling Cam. From what I understand, and I'm not an expert, I am not a lawyer, so I could be wrong about this, but from what I understand, Cam Harris is the only one who can gain access to the hundreds of millions of dollars that they've raised during this campaign. If that's true, it puts Democrats in a very tough situation. Either they support Cam Harris and have access to the available money to get her elected, or they have to start over with only 4 months until the election. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think they are going to try to find a way to do both. I think they're going to try to find a way to get access to the hundreds of millions of dollars that Johnny B. Biden's raised and have Cam Harris removed from the equation. Now, I don't know how they could do that, but the Deacons, if there's one thing they've proven, They have proven to be experts in the past at finding loopholes in the law. Like I told you guys the other day, there's a reason they waited until today to announce the resignation of John Biden. We are coming off the best Republican convention in my lifetime. Donald Trump, he's got all the momentum right now. They waited a couple of days after the convention to let the news cycle die down a little bit, and now the Democrats are the leading story and probably will be for the next few weeks. Right now, Cam Harris, she is the equivalent of a new coach. You know how when your team sucks for a few years and the head coach eventually gets fired, there's all this excitement and renewed hope when they hire a new head coach? There's always a grace period. There's always a honeymoon period where the new head coach can do no wrong. Over the next few weeks, that's how it's going to be with Cam Harris. But here's the problem. Cam can only hide for so long. 4 years ago, they did an excellent job hiding Johnny B. Biden, but they don't have the COVID to hide behind anymore. Eventually, Cam is going to be expected to perform. She's going to be expected to debate the Trumper. She's going to be expected to sell the public on her vision for the country. And I just don't think Kamala Harris is cut out to do that. I'll let you decide for yourself. Take a look at this compilation that Fox News put together. You tell me if you want Cam Harris to be your fearless leader. Roll the film.
We invested an additional $12 billion into community banks because we know community banks are in the community and understand the needs and desires of that community as well as the talent and capacity of community.
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
On this issue, for example, we applaud Germany in terms of what it has done as it relates to Nord Stream 2, as it relates to what we need to do domestically as well as what we need to do in terms of this issue generally. We have, as the President said, reevaluated what we're doing in terms of the strategic oil reserve here in the United States to make sure that it will not have an impact or we can mitigate the impact on the American consumer. We also recognize, just as it has been in the United States for Jamaica, one of the issues that has been presented as an issue that is economic in the way of its impact has been the pandemic. So to that end, we are announcing today also that we will assist Jamaica in COVID recovery by assisting in terms of the recovery efforts.
That's who you want to send to negotiate with Vlad Putin? That's who you want to send to negotiate with Daddy G? I could put together another compilation of Cam Harris laughing for no reason. You know what I would do if I were Donald Trump? Nothing. I would do absolutely nothing. The second he attacks Cam Harris, the media, they're going to accuse him of mythical racism and mythical misogyny. They are going to use Cam Harris to demonize the Trumper. If I were him, I would do nothing. I would give Cam Harris the platform. I would give Kamala Harris the microphone and let her destroy herself. But give me your thoughts on this. Johnny B. Biden steps aside, allows Cam Harris to finish the job of losing the election. Should Donald Trump be worried about this? Does Kamala Harris have a chance of getting elected? Also, what do you think of Johnny B. stepping aside? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.